Hello and welcome to a game between WhiteRa and IdrA. WhiteRa will be playing as the red Protoss player at the upper right hand corner, and IdrA will be playing as the blue Zerg player at the lower left hand corner. The map is going to be Shakuras Plateau, and IdrA did go for 15 pull into Extractor, and WhiteRa is going to be getting the 12 gateway into Assimilator as well. WhiteRa has scouted relatively early, as he did scout directly after the gateway going up at 12, and the pylon is going to be placed next to the set of destructible rocks, which will give him vision should something occur over there, which is probably not likely given how far these players are. And IdrA is also going to be scouting at this moment. The probe is coming into the natural expansion, and at the same time the spawning pool has recently finished. A queen is coming out immediately, probably followed by some zerglings that is going to be on the way. Cybercore has recently been opened by WhiteRa, and WhiteRa is checking out the base of IdrA. We'll see that he is not getting the hatchery first, and he is going to put the probe here, and he could delay the hatchery if he wants to. IdrA does have 240 minerals saved, and the probe is going to go away. That is interesting choice of stuffs. And Zeta Zerglings coming out, and WhiteRa is going to come back. Will not be quick enough to delay that hatchery any further. And the set of Zerglings are going to be chasing down that probe as they run across the screen. There's also going to be one drone inside the base of WhiteRa, as WhiteRa is corner boosting a Stalker out of his gateway, and the Zealot is simply not quick enough. And I think the drone will be able to see that pylon over here, and I believe he does see it. He does see it now, and this pylon usually signifies that the Protoss player is going to expand. And ooh, I think he had a chance. No, he did not have a chance to take down that. It was 11 of those things were going to be HPs, and I think WhiteRa is going to go for an expansion here, and this is a very early expansion. Zealot, Stalker, and Sentry, and he is going directly for the expansion along with the Warp Gate technology. Metabolic Boost is also being researched at this moment. And the two Zerglings actually ran past the Stalker along with the Zealot, but they're very close to death. And IdrA, getting some more free scouting information, will be able to... Ooh, still running around. Oh, he does lose that Zergling at last. But I believe he did not... Ooh, he didn't actually see this Nexus going up, but he probably suspects it because he does see this pylon over here, which signifies a block off, and also signifies that some sort of an expansion is very imminent. Two queens on the two hatcheries, and there's going to be two more gateways being opened up. A Roach Warren has been placed into the ground by IdrA. As we take a look at the income for both these players, almost exactly the same, as WhiteRa is going to be opening up his second gas, whereas IdrA is not going to be getting his second gas anytime soon. There's also an Overlord here directly to the east, so he will be able to tell if any of those minerals are gathered, because he can just fly them close to the minerals. And ooh, he almost actually picked off that probe. If the Overlord were to fly over here, he will be able to have vision of these minerals, and he can see when those minerals start depleting. Then he will know that his opponent is going to be mining those fields. Another Overlord coming from the west side of the base, maybe flying in later for a scout. At the moment, IdrA only has two Zerglings, and he is going to macro his way to victory or not victory. And WhiteRa is going to close off the gap here, and he does have a substantial force, much greater than two Zerglings, and those two Zerglings are still running about, and IdrA is still non-stop drones. And now for the first time he will be pumping a lot of those roaches coming out of the field left and right, and still two Zerglings out, and these two Zerglings will give him an even earlier indication of a march from his opponent. And these two Zerglings are on hold position, I believe, and he is going to fall back now, knowing that a large army is coming, and in response he is going to make a lot more Zerglings and roaches. And we see a Stargate coming out for the player WhiteRa. Stargate is a very cool structure that not a lot of Protoss players use, especially in the PvZ matchup. And we will see what he will do with it momentarily, as the Stalker is going to run up to check if there's any expansion. He has not found an expansion, and the Stalker is coming in here. Roach is falling back. Queen is getting into the fight, or maybe not. And good force fields there. He get all of those Zerglings. We'll be able to kill all of the Zerglings, and he did not actually lose any units. Great play there by WhiteRa. I can't believe WhiteRa has not lost any units. He almost lost the probe, almost got some other units killed, but he is still alive. Robotics facilities coming online as the Stargate is coming as well. We might see a fight here as they are engaging. Good force fields. Some of the roaches are in the back, not being able to fire on the range units. Zealot directly in their face, and the Zealots are tanking the hits. And this roach is trying to kite around, and he will survive. Great kite there by IdrA as that actually goes down. but there are about even additional reinforcements coming in the form of that Zealot kiting away the Zealot whacking away at the Roach. Roach is trying to kill off that Sentry. Sentry does get saved at 3 HP, and this Zealot is going to not go down or go down. Last hit, and he gets the Roach. Units lost tab shows that WhiteRa is in a slight lead, as he did win most of the matches so far, and also IdrA is going to be getting his 3rd expansion. I don't believe that WhiteRa has seen it. No, he has not yet seen it. And unit composition now is mostly Roaches and Zerglings, and a very good mix of units for WhiteRa, as he's going to be having one of those Observers, one of those Void Rays, and there is going to be an upgrade for the Void Ray coming in momentarily, as a bunch of Zerglings are running closer and closer to the defense of WhiteRa, and he will be able to take that down. And now it appears that those Roaches are going to be retreating. There's also going to be a Hydralisk Den coming in momentarily, as Evolution Chamber is going to be researching the +1 armor, and of course this hatchery is about to be complete, as it was laid down, and I don't believe he has sight of this just yet. He does have an observer, and he will see a lot of creep tumors being spread by his opponent IdrA. Army size at 77 versus 73, as WhiteRa is preparing a very nice mix of units, Immortals and Void Rays. I like this really good mixture, and there's also going to be a Robotics Bay. And at the same time, there is going to be one warrior coming in to do some harassment, and he has managed to sort of supply block his opponent. 75 of 70. Ooh, 70 now. He actually took down something else. And there was a scout coming inside the base of WhiteRa, and that's what that thing was. It was an Overlord, and that's why he was down so much in population. +1 missile attacks being researched by IdrA at this moment, but I believe IdrA did spot this critical structure, Robotics Bay, along with the Stargate as well as the robotics facility, so he sees exactly what's going on inside the base of his opponent. A lot more drones are being pumped out as he's going to get his 3rd base up and running. An observer is located slightly south, and there's a Void Ray chasing around an Overlord, and that Overlord is going to keep running. I believe the Overlord senses danger, and he actually ran for it before the Void Ray got to him. And we see a lot of upgrades coming in for WhiteRa, as he will be getting the +1 as well as the air +1, and also the Colossus thermal lance, which increases the range almost by 1 time, which makes it 2 times as long. And there is going to be a lot of probes, and of course now IdrA is going to be on 3 bases, and he will have an income advantage. He's also going to be getting his 4th hatchery, very nice there, and IdrA is massing an immense amount of units. It is 102 at this moment, however it could change at any time, as IdrA is getting a lot more units, and these Zerglings will be able to detect the Void Rays coming his way, along with some Zealots and Immortal. And of course, IdrA does take that time to get this Overlord over here and spread some creep and delay his opponent from getting an expansion. As we can see now, the income tab does show they're relatively close, but of course the distinct advantage is given to IdrA, as he does have 3 bases, and Void Rays are going to be patrolling back and forth possibly, and he will be able to take down that Overlord over there, as these players are making a lot of units, and IdrA is making a lot of Corruptors in preparation for the Colossus that he knows will be coming his way. Colossus coming out, being chrono boosted, and more Void Rays. I like this Colossus and Void Ray build. We'll see how it compares against the macro of IdrA, as IdrA is going to be on 4 hatcheries now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4 hatcheries. And his opponent WhiteRa does have 2 Colossus, and will be able to take down that 1 Zergling. And he also has 4 Void Rays. Unit composition for both these players, a lot of Zerglings, 6 Roaches, 9 Hydralisks, and about 7, 8 more and more Corruptors coming out. 3 more Corruptors on the way. And on the other hand, for WhiteRa, he does have 2 Colossus, 5 Void Rays, a lot of Zealots, and some Stalkers, and I think only 1 or 2 Sentries. And Zerglings are running toward the middle, as IdrA is claiming more and more land for the Swarm, and he's also spreading creep over here. He does have his side of the map controlled, and it appears that WhiteRa may be trying to trap his opponent here. He probably wants him to march in and maybe even go for a behind the back snipe if they were to step inside. Observer is watching the land very carefully, and we see the army of IdrA is emerging. There is a total of 167, and he is going to move out. He is going to he is going to approach the cap very soon, as the Zerg are spawning more and more eggs, and the queens are injecting more and more of lava. 1 Zergling runs forward, will detect the Colossus, and looks like IdrA is going to retreat and wait for some more units to spawn. And there's 7 more Hydralisks coming along the way, and the units upgrades are going to be 1-1 for the ground, and also +1 for the air. IdrA does have 1-0 for his air, and also 0-1 for his ground. Another Zergling coming in to sacrifice himself as he checks out his opponent. IdrA, however, is really close to cap. He needs to fight now. 195 against 159, and he is going to go in. There is a total of 4 Colossus, and that is a lot of Corruptors. Corruptors are aiming at the Colossus. Colossus going down. Great Force Field's there. Some of the units in the back are not fighting for IdrA, but that is not the problem, as a lot of these Colossus are being taken down, and WhiteRa does not actually have a lot of range now because the Void Rays are fighting the Corruptors, and the Corruptors are fighting the Void Rays, and I think IdrA is going to win the battle here, as he is going to be taking the ground battle decisively, and he is going to lose out to some of these Void Rays, but the Void Rays have done their damage, but I don't think it will be enough to hold off his opponent. Hydralisk as well as Roaches rushing forward, and they're going to go to natural expansion, take down this one cannon. And it looks like IdrA is macroing up really well. A lot of reinforcements coming. Look at this swarm of units. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of units. And I believe the only units for WhiteRa now is only 1 Colossus and 30 Warrior. He's trying to desperately save this Colossus. He does manage to save it, and he is going to do some damage, but he needs to warp in some units, and I don't think he can at this moment. 168 versus 82, double the army size, and Zealots are being warped in at this moment. He really needed more Colossus, or maybe less Colossus, or more stuff to deal with the Corruptors, but that is great macro play by IdrA, and WhiteRa agrees. Hope you guys enjoyed it. More games will be coming in shortly with other players. If you have any suggestions, let me know, and also please subscribe if you have not. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys at the next game.